an Airbnb owned by a young lady. The young lady assures the police officers that there is no one in the house, and that when she arrived home from shopping, the front door was opened. At first it seems like an empty house, but as the officer moves on, unexplained things begin to happen. As he heads up the stairs, watch this bedroom door. It seems to open all by itself.
Anyone inside, make yourself known.
Did you see it? As he rounds the corner, this door is already moving and already opening. He's immediately rushed by footsteps running towards him, but when he turns, there's no one there.
Hey, you're muted. Everyone's muted.
Welcome to Event Horizon. I'm your host, Angus Mustang, and today we have Lord Raul, Jason Barker from Knights of the Storm and the Foxhole, and Little John from somewhere outside your bushes mostly, but he's made it through the woods and he's here tonight. Gentlemen, how y'all doing?
We are doing fine. I am.
Oh man, this is.
Thanks for Angus.
Muscle through some crappy internet connection, apparently. How you doing, everybody? Good? Okay, nice. It's been a long day today. Jason, this is what, your 15th, 16th podcast since yesterday?
No, number 3. That's it. Just number 3.
My third also. And for you guys that do all the actual research, that's pretty impressive to do 3. So what do you think about that video with the cop and the ghost, potential ghost?
I've got a similar story with the footsteps that happened. I could tell you about it later, a little bit later. It is creepy to hear something and you can hear. And the thing about being in real life is you can hear like directionally where it is and you're looking right there. And it's like, what? So I don't think video does it justice, like the creepiness when something like that happens.
Oh, yeah. Definitely doesn't do it justice. So Jason, you missed 2 weeks ago, the last episode we sat and we discussed different ghost stories. And I know you had said you had some, but you were unable to make that episode. So you're going to be the focus of the ghost story part tonight. So,
oh, wow. All right. Well, all right. So I got a couple stories and I don't know that I believe in ghosts necessarily, but I know there's something out there. And I guess I'll start with, maybe I'll start with the footstep story. This is the one I really experienced the creepy stuff firsthand. And I was about 15 or so. And we had a barn. I lived in Southern Illinois in a trailer. And behind our trailer, we had a barn that had been there forever. It was a typical hay floor, dirt floor with the hay on it and stuff. Big wide open area. Up top was the hay loft, and there was a little ladder to go up there. And then on the front side of the barn was some separate little place to park your tractors and stuff like that. Well, we had knocked out part of the wall up in the hay loft to be able to go in the middle upper room to make a little clubhouse out of it, because the room below it that we would climb the ladder up, there was so much stuff in there we couldn't get up the ladder. So we just floored that off and we made our own little passage. So fast forward about maybe 6 months later, my stepdad decides to build a workshop out there. So he takes half of the bottom of this dirt floor and he builds it up and makes a subfloor and puts a wall. So this wall fell right over the entryway where you go up into the hayloft. So from the top, you could see the dirt floor side. You could see the wooden floor side, which just still had the OSB. And for those who don't know what OSB is, it's like a sheathing material you put on your house. So when you walk on it, it made that echoey floor sound. So anyway, we're up there, snuck out. My neighbors snuck out. They came a couple miles down the road. We went up there and we were chilling out. smoking cigarettes like bad kids do, and hanging out. And we start hearing these it's like boots, like old school, like cowboy boots on a saloon floor, clunk clunk, clunk clunk, clunk clunk. And so we peek our head. We thought maybe our stepdad came out there and was doing something in the middle of the night there in the workshop he was building. And we looked down, nothing in there. We shined the flashlight, absolutely, and it was an empty room. There was no tools in there, no nothing yet. It was just completely empty. So we hear this clunk clunk, clunk clunk, clunk clunk, and then it stops. We look down there, it stops. And so we're like, what the heck was that? So we pull our heads back, and then we hear the steps again. Clunk, clunk, clunk. I look down there, I shine the light, I can hear it's right there. It's right there. I can hear it going across the floor. And then I was like, hello. And then I hear it stop, and I hear this little shuffle, like shh, shh, like somebody turned with boots on a dusty floor. And then I'm like, what the heck? I can hear it, that it's right there. And then it shuffles back, and then it goes clunk, 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 clunk. I can hear it going towards the partition wall he built, and then it steps off into the hay and into the hay and walks out the other side of the barn. And, we weren't smoking no weed or nothing. I never did smoke weed or anything. We weren't drinking. We were just up there, camping out, smoking a couple cigarettes and hanging out, telling our little stories. And that happened in real time. We ended up knocking the plywood off the side of the barn in that room and crawling out on the little the lower roof of the side part and running in the house and, crying like little babies and going to bed inside. But it freaked me out. I couldn't explain it, but I know what I heard. I know what I saw. My buddies saw the same thing. It was kind of crazy. So I don't know. What do you guys think that could have been? I mean,
to me, it's definitely something paranormal. I think I think everybody, as we discussed, Raul and myself, John, I don't think you had any. You had like a deja vu type thing, but you said you have stuff move around in the barn that you're in, right? Or the building that you're in.
I believe in all this. I believe in all this stuff. This old building that I'm living in, or not living in, but hang out. There's an entity. Let me say an entity that lives among me. It lives among all of us. I also talked about guardian angels also.
But
I lived with it 24/7 for 9 years before I left. And we had my mother had utensils hanging on the back of the stove, and you could sit in there and watch all 10 of them start swinging in unison. And you could go over there, put your arm on them, stop them all completely, and you'd get like goosebumps running up your neck. And then they'd take your arm away, and the things would immediately go back to what they were doing. They wouldn't ease up back into it again. They would just take off right where you left them and just keep flying.
Didn't your mom used to do Ouija board stuff?
Yeah.
That's not good. That's kind of evil from what I hear. Don't do the Ouija board.
Yeah, if you don't do it right, as we found out, it opened a portal in our house, and everybody and anybody came through.
Ouch.
Oh, go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
It's worse than having a bad dream, Raul.
Oh, it is. I've seen it.
That's the thing. Being a Christian guy and believing in the Bible and stuff. I think when you die, because that's what people think ghosts are, is that they're people that died and haven't moved on or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that's it, because I've heard a lot of stories about people who died on like an operating room table, and they went outside themselves and they could see themselves. Some people tell other stories, very similar stories, that say, I see the light, I'm going towards the light. People that were going towards hell, they have stories to tell about that. So I don't know. You said portal. I don't know if these things are terrestrial, like something that's stuck here where we're at, or if it is channeled through, like, say, it's a demon or an angel, as you may say.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
Angels and demons.
Yeah.
Is
So
that true? Angels are really demons? I've heard that. And I've seen the movie too. You know, Demons and Angels or whatever it was. But
Angels and demons, yeah.
yeah. But I don't think that the angels that I have coming to me in my little head are demons. You know, I mean, I think they're here to help me in some kind of sort of way.
I've seen both. It's scary.
Well, here's another story. I wasn't going to talk about this, but it came into my mind when we talk about angels and, people who've passed on. So my mom, after she had my brother, she was pregnant with a girl, not woman, a little girl, and she had a miscarriage, which is, I guess, fortunate for me because the timing was such as if she carried that baby to full term, I would have never been conceived. So I can owe my life to my dead sister. And mom told me, and she's told me that when she used to be, my brother was in his kindergarten or whatever, and she'd be doing the housework and stuff, and I'm sitting in the living room, my dad was at work, that I had an imaginary friend. And somehow I know, and I remember looking up in the upper corner of the room, and it was almost like you would consider an angel. But at the same time, I knew later in my life, I knew that I had a sister, but I didn't even know about the miscarriage until like way later than that. So it makes me wonder if it wasn't my sister that had gone on to heaven or whatever, and wasn't a ghost or an imaginary friend, but kind of keeping an eye on me or whatever. So kind of weird.
They say people are energy, and you can't destroy energy, so that has to go somewhere. Is energy our soul? You know what I mean? Is that what stays behind for these people? There's so many different ways you can look at it. Reincarnation, waiting for your soul, your energy to get back into another body. I said energy, but if everybody's energy and everybody that, people that die can come back and do hauntings, do residual hauntings where it's all, you've done this thing a million times, so now that haunting continues on. I was telling the story of since my mom passed, my dad would hear footsteps on the staircase, and he's not a believer until this happened. And then the door would open, he'd hear the door open. It didn't physically open, and then it would close. And my mom it was on Saturdays, he would hear this. And that used to be my mom would go grocery shopping, come up the stairs, open the door, close the door, blah, blah, blah. So if that's true, then there should be residual hauntings everywhere. You know what I mean? So it can't be everything. It is. So are some people, your energy just that much greater at a certain point? Or is it maybe because when you pass on, you already believe that you're going to be able to do this stuff? Or it's weird, because if you don't believe in the paranormal, you're never going to see a ghost. If you don't believe in UFOs, you're never going to see a UFO. If you don't believe in God, you'll never see a miracle, because everything will just be a coincidence at that point. So, I believe there's something there. I believe it in hauntings. I've had enough weird stuff happen, but where does it come from? And I'm going to do a little self-promotion here, because this is episode 3.5. Episode 3 is with Chris Matthews from Forbidden Knowledge News, and we kind of covered this stuff from a different aspect. And it'll be very interesting when you play this backwards and you go to episode 3 to hear what he talks about and how this all ties together. It'll be pretty impressive.
Playing it backwards, right?
Yeah, it'll sound weird. We'll sound like chipmunks, but we'll get it. But no, I mean, so it's weird.
Well, that's like the Ouija board incident that shut everything down. We have a major seance going on. We've got the same players at the table, and they're getting answers to all kinds of questions that are going on. And then, we're an hour to 2 hours into this seance, and all of a sudden the Ouija board moves and says, "Hey, I've got someone here that wants to talk to you." And whoever it was talking to my mother. And my mother's like, "Okay, who wants to talk to me?" "Your father, he's here." My mother's like, "That's impossible. My father's in Baltimore. You know, that's where he lives. He's not here." 5 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's his wife calling to let my mother know her father just passed away.
Wow.
But yet, you know, where'd that come from? Who's sending the message? I mean, that's pretty intense when you're sitting there and all of a sudden you get the phone rings and you're like, "Yep, he just passed."
Do you ever? I don't know which of you guys are into WWE or wrestling, professional wrestling, but they had a show on one of the channels, might have been History or Discovery or something, and they go through they talk to different wrestlers, and talk about their career and their life and this and that. And one of them was Rodney Piper.
Ooh.
And when he passed away, he was friends with Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan still has the voicemail. And this happened after Rodney Piper died, saying that there's no worries, I'm on the other side with Jesus now and stuff. And he plays it for you. I mean, it's bizarre. There's you got to figure this isn't set up. It's so I don't know.
So
Will
I
we ever know the answer?
I got a thought. Just because when you die, I believe that you go somewhere. You go to heaven or you go to hell. Okay. But I often wonder if there's like a time that it takes to get there, because there's people who've been dead for up to 3-4 minutes that have been brought back, through resuscitation, defibrillator, mouth to mouth, things like that. And they've been able to bring people back. And I think the only problem is if it takes too long, then you're brain dead. So, is there a time when you're kind of in a limbo where your spirit leaves the body and it's getting ready to go? Maybe it's in the tunnel going to the light, or it's in the darker tunnel going to the bad place, the fire. Is that what we're experiencing? Is somebody trying to do a last minute cry out while they're in transit? Because there's obviously a time that you're actually dead. You're physically dead,
Right.
but you can be brought back. So you haven't gotten to where you're going yet. I'm looking at it from a Christian aspect, like, you're going to go to heaven or hell. It kind of makes me wonder, because they do bring people back from the dead all the time. And the better we get at it, the longer they can, a person can be dead and they're able to bring them back. Is it possible you can bring the body back, but they're brain dead because that soul made its journey to where it was going? But in transit, is there a time frame that you can actually send a message out or something? Because it's my understanding that, this is from my grandma. I don't know if it's in the Bible or not. I have to look it up. But she said to us that once we get there, we won't even have a memory of who we were. So I don't understand how somebody can come back and say, "Oh, I was your father, I was your brother,
Right.
or I was,
Right. So
So
that goes back to reincarnation then.
My pastor put it to me this way: when you're gone, you're supposed to go up in front of God for judgment, and you're either going up or down.
Yep.
If you go up, you're not allowed to come back, because then you'd be introducing sin back into heaven. And if you're down, what are the chances Satan's going to let you out for a holiday? So what it could be are angels and demons either trying to pass the message to you or try to sway you into a certain group, maybe trying to get you to stay away from church or get into church, or something.
Interesting.
No, I believe in that. I mean, I believe this whole episode right now. When my dad passed away, I was holding him. I would think I was like 32 or 33. And it was the first time I ever seen anybody pass away. And when he finally stopped breathing, he had cancer at 54. I'm older than he is. But anyway, I felt I stepped away from the bed for a minute and I felt his spirit. I just really, and ever since then, and I felt him put his arm around me and say, "It's okay. Everything's okay." And I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not looking forward to like shooting my head off right now. I don't want to say that on the show, Angus. I'm not afraid of dying though.
Put that out, John.
But everything's okay. Everything. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Well, I think we talked about this last time, and I'm the same way. I'm not scared of death. Dying, if it comes fast, that's what I want. I don't want to be impaled on something or,
Would you describe it as you didn't want your limbs ripped off like Monty Python?
yeah. I don't want to be, legless, armless, and just sitting there going, son of a gun.
That's a good thing to think about though. Would you want to go faster or want to go a little bit slower? I remember, I forget what movie it was where this girl, I guess this dude kidnapped her or raped her or something. It's been a long time since I saw it, and she ended up getting the better of him, had a gun, and she's getting ready to shoot the guy, and she paused and said, "I have one question for you." And he's like, "What's that?" And she says, "Do you accept Jesus Christ as your personal savior?"
Yes.
And then he says yes, and then she shoots him. So in that case, he was dead because she was going to shoot him. And in the movie, it turns out he didn't end up dying. And then there was the whole drama after that. He takes her to court and stuff. But would you want that few minutes to know, okay, this is my final moment. I really need to stop and think, did I do everything right? Is there something I need to do in these last few seconds? Or would you rather just go like that?
Go like that.
You would?
Yep.
So you're confident. You're confident that you're set and good to go. I mean, I think I am too. I think I would still rather have the little bit of time just so if let's say I rolled a car down an embankment and I'm definitely going to die. I would like to get the phone out and text one person, hey, I love you. I think that's why I'd want to have a few more moments.
I've had this talk with my wife and kids. It's like, I want it to be fast. I don't got to text nobody because I'm not leaving. I'll be haunting your asses all day long. I always tell my kids that.
I'm not gone.
You hear somebody fart in the corner and nobody's there? That was me.
Does anybody here really want to know how they're going to pass away?
No.
And I say the word.
I had an uncle that knew.
I say the word.
I had an uncle that knew the exact day and time that he was going to pass.
How?
The judge told him.
I say the word pass away, pass. It's because it's not like you die. It's just like your body is like a machine part. But yet you're like you said, energy, everything has a being, goes somewhere else. And that's what I felt when my dad passed away. It was sad, but like I said, I'm not afraid.
See, and I'll
leave my family.
I've always thought that heaven and hell, to me, is what you make it here on earth. This is your heaven. This is your hell. You can make it good for yourself, or you can make it bad for yourself. And I believe there's an afterlife, but what kind of afterlife, I'm not sure. But I was comforted by a friend of mine from Trinidad I used to work with, and he used to tell me, he says, why you want to go to heaven, man? Hell is where the loose women and the party's going to be. You want to go to hell. So I kind of, maybe he's right about this.
No, I'll take the heaven all day. I'll take that.
But I mean, so it's all kind of how people look at things. It's like, I guess we all find out when we get there. I mean, I had another guy I worked with. He was, very devout Christian, and he always used to tell me, you have to accept Jesus now and believe in God now. But I was always like, well, I said, he's a forgiving God, right? And he goes, yeah. I said, so when I get there and say, geez, I didn't think you existed, wouldn't he forgive me then?
Yes.
But that's how I believe.
Well, I mean, if you look at it too, the thief on the cross waited till the last minute before Jesus forgave him and said he's coming with him. So he might have had 40 years worth of thieving and nastiness, but was forgiven at that brief moment in time, and he was good. It's what's in your heart that counts.
That's what I was gonna say, Raul. In that particular story, you had Jesus, and then you had the two criminals on either side. And we all do bad stuff. Some people out of necessity. They're trying to feed their family, or maybe they just feel like they don't have a shake in life, and they've got to thieve and steal and rob, whatever. But at the moment that you're about to die, what's in your heart at that moment? One guy still had like a hatred in his heart, and he went bye-bye to the bad place. And the other guy was like, oh, wow, I really screwed this one up. So he was truly good in his heart, even though he led a bad life. So, yeah, I think that's what's in your heart.
I'll tell you, there's certain things that, if things came up, I would rather die instead of staying alive if somebody's going to send me to prison for the rest of my life.
No, agreed. Yeah.
I disagree with that, John, because if you're a warrior for God and he sends you to prison, how do you know that wasn't his plan for you to go to prison and like talk to people? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that's your job.
Yeah, you don't get to pick the gift that he gives you.
Right. There's a lot of criminals that went to prison and ended up turning a lot of people around because they found God in prison and they preached, and then they come out and they're better people for it. And then also all those criminals that can't be rehabilitated through the government system were rehabilitated from that one criminal that said, you know what, they didn't off themselves because I'm going to prison. They went and they served God there. So I don't know. I would think twice about, don't anticipate what the outcome's going to be. I would say rock with it. Let God's plan work out.
Well, that's what some people do. They call it suicide by cop. You've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I had my son was engaged teaching about that, and he's like, so I can do whatever I want, but as long as I ask for forgiveness at the very end, I'm good to go. And I went, well, technically, yes, but you have to know when you're going, because you can't pick and choose what time you go and when he calls you home. So if you're not ready when he calls you home, you missed. That's the chance you take.
And that goes back to the question of, would you want to know, or like if you got in a nasty accident, would you want to have those 2 minutes to try to?
I don't want to know. No.
I would say if your heart thinks that way, then you're not going to get it in the end anyway, because you're not even going to think to ask of it.
You should have your house settled by the time the Lord wants to take you.
Absolutely.
I agree with the part that it's what's in your heart too. I treat people like people every day. I don't know you, but I'm going to treat you just like everybody else. So you prove me wrong that you're a freaking scumbag, and then I don't have to beat you down or anything. I just avoid you, But I'm going to treat everybody the way I want to be treated and the way I think humanity should treat each other.
Yeah, what goes around comes around.
That's right, John. It's coming, baby.
Yeah, I mean, the whole world right now is like a total upside down pancake, and I don't know what's going to happen to all of us in the next couple of years. That's going to happen, but they're doing something.
You know what the sad part is that these evil people, like the Bill Gateses of the world, they're just mass murdering people with the vaccine agenda and stuff. He's gone through and experimented in countries and stuff, and he's been kicked out of India. He got kicked out of. He's still working there through other companies through his research, but those people seem to always come out on top. And no matter how hard, and you Angus, you talk about having a good heart and everything, and treat people fairly. And if you just don't want to, you don't hate them, you don't want to murder them or nothing. If you don't like them, you just don't talk to them. Why is it that those evil people come out on top and we don't? And I would say, in my opinion, it's because our rewards are not set here. Our rewards are set elsewhere. So if
right. So one of those things is with Bill Gates. Satan will just keep giving him whatever he wants.
Yep.
Keep letting the rope go and the rope go and the rope go. And when the time comes, there's nowhere to go. So you don't worry about the Bill Gates, those evil people.
I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but this is all covered in episode 3.
Wow. I haven't. Well, you haven't published it, so I haven't seen it.
I might have to put this at the beginning because this is like the perfect segue into that. So I don't know, but no, I mean it was brought up. I didn't know this. It's supposedly Bill Gates, and I'm going to believe this because it's a credible source. Not only did he talk about depopulation, but also despiritualization.
Oh yeah, I've seen it on.
Yeah, I did not know that until today.
I have not seen that.
No.
Enlighten me on it because I haven't heard of this.
I'll have to watch episode 3 to get back to you on that.
I've
I don't
seen
remember exactly how it goes, but I was like blown away. I'm like, really? Because I haven't heard that.
The way Bill Gates, the best way I can put it is to depopulate, you have to despiritualize.
Yeah.
So you got to get them away from God, and then they'll be easier to take the shot, the vaccine. Instead of relying on God, they'll be relying on man.
That makes sense. Absolutely, that makes sense. And that was actually part of when I did my religious exemption letter for the military. Part of it was talking about if I trust in man over what God gave me, my natural immune system, then I'm kind of violating God's. I don't know how I worded it, but you're violating trust in God and trusting man more. And that was actually, that makes perfect sense. So I didn't know Gates was on that, but
I'm glad my company only pushed so far before they gave up with that.
nice. So we're all 4 of us are unjabbed, right?
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, thank you. My personal physician said, don't want it, don't need it, don't get it.
So as far as I know, I'm unjabbed. I have health issues that kind of fall in line with. I just watched a video that talked about people who are jabbed getting the same symptoms as what's called POTS syndrome or POTS disease or whatever. Elevated heart rate, uncontrollable, like unthrottleable, throttleable. I can't say the word, but your heart rate just goes kind of crazy, shortness of breath. That's the stuff I experienced shortly after everybody I had these morning meetings with in close quarters were all getting vaccinated. So I don't know if they shed on me and hurt my health. It's gotten better, or if they actually jabbed my ass and told me it was the flu vaccine, which I had to get. I couldn't get out of that one.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't
Well,
know.
I think we had covered on one of your shows also that the fact that the vaccine is transmittable.
Yeah.
You know,
Why wouldn't it be? It's a man-made virus, so why wouldn't it transmit like a virus?
So if I hug somebody that's sweating, does that mean I got the virus?
no,
Good.
not the virus, but the vaccine.
The vaccine would transfer to you.
Because I had heard they wanted to make it so that they wanted to make it airborne. So if I had the vax and I breathed near you, you could pick it up.
Oh, I've read so many papers on this, and Gates and among others have talked about that is their desire, is to make a vaccine that will spread itself. So they only have to vaccinate a certain percentage of the population, and it will make its way throughout the entire population. This is a goal they have. Now, we always know when they publish something and they talk about it, they've already done it. Yeah. You know, let me look at the chemtrail. We were talking about him. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish.
No, I was saying we were talking about chemtrails on, and I've wanted to do a chemtrail episode for a long time on the foxhole, but I just don't know enough about it. And there's so many rabbit holes to go down, so much research on it that, you know, I don't want to get out there and portray bad information. But what we did do is we found documentation of geoengineering, weather modification, cloud seeding, things going all the way back. One company said they had been in business since 1961. And the White House published a paper. We had both of those on the foxhole. They just came out recently and said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and pursue research into geoengineering. And basically, we call it chemtrails. They call it spraying whatever. I forget what the term was they use.
Aerosol injection.
Yeah, but there was a specific term about reflecting the Earth's reflecting stuff. But they said they're going to pursue it. Yet we have a company that says they've been doing it since 61. We also, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Musk was trying to use his Starlink to do weather modification, and like it's something new, but it was on hold because the other people that are already doing weather modification said it might interfere with what they're doing. And I'm like, whoa, you said this was a theory. You said you weren't doing it, but now that Musk wants to do it, you're saying, hey, hold off because you might interfere with what we've been doing for 20 years. So, yeah, if they're saying that they want to make these vaccines spread themselves, and it's just they're coming out now talking about it, guarantee you they've already done it. To what extent, I don't know.
Did you see the clip of Biden talking about actually signing the papers to have funding to do a new vaccine for this year or next year, which is going to be necessary and it will work this time. And he's going to have everybody get it, regardless of if you've gotten the jab or how many boosters you've gotten from the other one.
And by work this time, it means kill more people, right?
Yes.
Well, let's start with him.
In a nice way, yes.
We could have used that information last night in the foxhole. That would have went really well with what we were doing. I know it's
Biden is a dead man. I mean, he's just a walking corpse. No, he really is a dead man.
Yeah, well, that's
It's awful.
That's you've heard of predictive programming before, right?
Yeah.
Where they show you something and you're like, weaken that Bernie.
It's not on the show.
That was the Biden administration right there. But so in the description of this episode, I'm going to put in the link to frankenskiesthemovie.com, which
I've watched some of that, not all of it. I've watched some of it.
It's very good. I mean, this goes back, they've been doing it since the 20s. But I mean, for Knights of the Storm or the Foxhole, that Matt Landman might be somebody you want to get on. Billy Ray can actually, Billy Ray's had him on a couple times, so he might be able to help you get in contact with him.
Okay, cool.
But so man, we got really far from ghostesses.
I got a funny story for y'all. If you want a goofy story about Okinawa.
Yeah.
Can you share my screen?
Yep.
Okay, check this out. I thought this was hilarious. You see this? Let me zoom it in.
Oh my goodness.
So this is a hotel with a big King Kong on it. And when you go down the highway, there's one major highway there. You could pull it off if you want. I just wanted everyone to get the visual. But this is the one highway or freeway, which you go like 45 miles an hour on. That's like whatever, 80 kilometers, I think is the
country road. Yeah, the country road.
Yeah, but that's their highway that goes between, Nago and Naha or something like that. Anyway, I always went past this hotel and I started asking people, what's up with the big King Kong? And they're like, oh, it was an attraction they built. And I know this has nothing to do with ghosts, but it's kind of funny. And I said, well, why is the head kind of turned down looking at nothing? Well, it turns out when they built this thing, so I was told, it used to stare straight forward, but there was a loony bin that it stared straight at. And the people there were going crazy because they look out their window and this big giant monkey is staring at them. So they made, well, there's two stories. One story is a typhoon came in and knocked it off kilter and they just reinforced it. And the other story, the people I know told me that were alive when it was built, they said it used to stare straight at the thing and people were going crazy. And so they said, you got to turn the head. You got to turn the head. I thought that was hilarious. Not a ghost story, but a funny story.
That's well appreciated.
Yeah. The reason I brought that up, Angus and I were talking about ghost stories, and I said Okinawa is one of the most heavily haunted places, supposedly, and going through and looking some of these up, I came across
because of the bomb? Is it because of the bomb?
No, they're just really superstitious. They're very superstitious. they have a lot of traditions and things. It's kind of neat, you know.
One of the most haunted places in the U.S. is supposed to be Louisiana.
Well, what was Billy talking about?
Gotta be my house in Cabo. Gotta be my house.
Billy Ray was talking. Let's go way off topic here. Billy Ray was talking about today about Peru. I froze. Sorry. People in Peru shooting their guns in the sky because they think they're seeing aliens. You know, and that's in Peru. And Peru is like the biggest alien place in the world as far as artifacts.
Yeah, a lot of places in South America.
I also
we
believe.
I
believe in
and all
God.
that.
I also believe in aliens too.
Yeah, I mean, this universe is contained in something. I mean, I always thought about that too. What if our universe is nothing more than a cell contained inside a giant, a person, a dog?
It's kind of like Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah,
when we were kids.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just running around, or if you look at it recently, Men in Black, little marbles that they were keeping in the pouch. All the aliens that were
Yeah,
little galaxies.
that's what they were trying to steal, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the COVID thing, but it's so wild how the whole wide world did it at the same time. It wasn't this.
Oh,
country
it's
or
a
that
plan,
country.
man.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
it's-
It's Event 201.
And it's funny because I was listening to a podcast that I recently found with my personal physician on it. And he's like, if it's a pandemic, he's like, you would think the death rate would spike. He goes, but there was no spike in the death rate. It was just a continual line of the normal death rate. He goes, with a pandemic, it should have spiked way up and then slowly come back down again, but there was no spike.
Well, everything was blamed on COVID.
Right.
So,
Well, I'll go one further, Raul. I was actually watching the trends through the CDC until they stopped reporting the numbers, and actually overall deaths per capita per 1 million people, 100,000 people, whatever, they were actually downward trending all the way up, even through halfway through COVID. They were down trending. What they were doing was they were labeling other deaths as COVID to create an artificial spike. To say, look at these COVID deaths, but then, oh wow, heart disease was cured by COVID, cancer was cured by COVID. You know, all these other things were cured by COVID because the deaths went away to zero.
Yeah, no cold and flu season. There was
Nothing.
They threatened to pull my physician's license because he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't label everything COVID.
And this happened, and like John said, this just didn't happen in the U.S. because they were pushing the pharmaceuticals here to make U.S. companies money. This happened worldwide, and you know that they didn't just fall in because they were stupid enough to believe the U.S., because they also fudged their numbers and they stopped reporting. So you got to understand, this is a grand conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just pointing out that there is a conspiracy. I'm not theorizing. It is.
My doctor, he's had 20 of his patients, all around 50, who all got the jab, all dropped dead with no medical conditions. But as he found out, in order to label it a vaccine death, the paperwork you have to fill out is insane, and nobody has the time to fill out these pages and pages and pages of documents to get it to be labeled as a vaccine death.
So it's easier just to write it off as something else.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was really easy to write it off as a COVID death, wasn't it? A
that's
clinical
about
death.
what I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ghosts going on right now from those people that got the COVID shot.
Yeah.
Well,
John's trying to bring us back on topic.
I've always wondered too. I mean, so 9/11, the Trade Center, is there a lot of ghost activity there?
Goodness gracious.
You know, that's interesting. I don't know.
You know, I worked on the 88th floor of that building. You know, I mean, there's no way in the world that a plane can go through it. The structure was on the outside. I've seen a bird hit a big jet airliner in the nose and put a big dent in it. There is no way a plane is going through it without the wings and the engines and everything else falling to the ground where everybody sees it.
It's a soda can flying at 500 miles an hour hitting a block of steel.
Yeah.
Well, what John's not considering is that the terrorist passports were made of a titanium alloy that can survive anything, including, a fire. And that's what carried the plane through the buildings. And then, once the plane had caught the buildings on fire, the passports continued on and undamaged found themselves blocks away.
And didn't one of the passports get found on the Church Avenue? There was a good deli on Church Avenue right down the street. One of the
boxes made out of corn. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
I got a story for that too.
I miss my old delis back over there back in the day. They had some good food. But anyway.
Panera Bread.
Hey, can we jump into another ghost story?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I don't have firsthand knowledge of this. It's just a common one. When I went to Okinawa in the military, we go to what's called the Japanese Head Start. Well, we did back then. It was I think it was 2 weeks or something. And they teach you a little bit of the language. They teach you how to use chopsticks. They, teach you what different foods are. Just kind of get you culturalized, tell you what to expect, how to not act like a jackass as an American. And one of the things they do is teach you about the local customs and rumors and stuff. One of the things that came up was how superstitious they are about ghosts and stuff. And Kadena Air Base, which is a pretty large, and that's why Okinawa was such a crucial thing in the war, because that put us within bombing range. And when I say the war, I mean World War II, right? We did the Ukraine. Yeah. Real important. But anyway, the Okinawa was the place that would put us within a round trip to to drop a nuke on Tokyo. So that was a real key piece of real estate we wanted. And anyway, we ended up taking it. We still have presence there. Kadena Air Base is a rather large air base there. They actually have a red phone, which means they have the ability to make the call on nuclear strike. It's pretty cool. Actually, maybe not cool. But back to the point, there's a really interesting story that carries some weight. When they built that airstrip, apparently there was a burial ground there, and they don't have like a graveyard like we have. They have these little kind of house tomb things, and they go burn incense and all that stuff. It's kind of is that really neat to look at. I kind of didn't walk around them too much because I didn't want to disrespect anyone's family or anything. But they apparently moved these things to make way for the airstrip, which we would never do that now. Like they'll stop construction on anything if you come across any small artifact. But back then, I guess they did. Right. And apparently when they drew that line and say, okay, this half's going relocating over here and this half's relocating over here, they split up a husband-wife. And I mean, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of pilots have witnessed a woman in the middle of the night walking across the runway. And, people out there, driving around the perimeter road have seen it. Pilots have seen it. It's kind of crazy. So they say that she walks across the runway. There are hundreds of stories.
That woman, sometimes I think that these people that we think about, we're talking about, they just can't pass on. They're stuck in a perpetual, it's almost like what is it? Oh, geez, what's the word when you're stuck? It's like you're not going to heaven, you're not going to hell, you're in the middle.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
Actually, I found a video on it. I don't know I haven't seen it. I'm Googling it right now. But Ghost to Gate 3. Wow, there's a lot of Kadena. Haunted Airbase Kadena. But I thought that was interesting. You're talking about moving on, John. And I was talking about, when you die, you're able to be brought back up to a certain point. Is that the point when you can haunt, before you go on to heaven or hell? And
there's no haunting. You know, people that are living like us, they would call it haunting. But, you know, for those souls, I call them souls, they're just there, you know.
But there's got to be a destination. I mean, you got to go one place or another. That's what confuses me. And I don't believe in the reincarnation, because I could say, if I believed in reincarnation, I could say, okay, this is a soul that's just waiting for a body, waiting for their turn to jump in a new body. But I don't believe in reincarnation for this reason. Population grows. So if, let's say we started off in this world with X amount of population and the population is doubled, where did those souls come from? They weren't reincarnated because we only had so many to start with. So there has to be a creator that's making new ones, you know? And I would say if there's a creator that's making new ones, then you got to go with the Bible, and the Bible says that we go somewhere. So I don't know. Now, does God give you a second chance? I don't know. Maybe I'll find out when I get there. Maybe you get there and he says, hey, I need you to go back and do this, and you're not going to have any memory. But I need you to go back and do this for me because I know your personality and you're going to accomplish my goals. Is that possible? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I personally think yes. I personally think yes. You know, that's my thinking.
A friend of mine who's, a Catholic, believes that you get called home when you finish your job.
There you go. That makes sense.
Because you're like, why would you hear these sad stories of children dying, but you hear that the families were in turmoil, getting ready to split, but because the child was sick and passed away, it glued the family back together and they were healed.
I could be a little more crazy and go Rick and Morty on you. I can say that maybe we all chill out in heaven, and then we put a quarter in the machine and say, I want to play this game. And we come down here, and then once we die or whatever, then we say, crap, I could get a better score next time. Throw another quarter in the machine. That's reincarnation. Like, I don't know. That's kind of
you one better than that. And I had regressive hypnosis done and found out about my last life. And when I passed away, I got to the pearly gates, and St. Peter was there. And I'm looking, and I said, man, what are all these clocks? There's a clock like everywhere. He goes, that's how we keep track. Every time you masturbate, it moves 1 minute. And I stood there, I'm looking, I go, son of a bitch, where's my clock? He goes, yeah, God has it in his office. He uses it for a fan. True
Harry
story.
Palmer.
Angus,
Yes.
do you have any dreams that you think of when you wake up are so real
Yes.
with like ancestors? I have them all the time.
We talked about this last time. I used to have a lot of dreams that were premonitions. I don't have that so much anymore, but I do. I can get up from a dream and go back and kind of pick it up where I left off. And I don't know what that means, and dreams are usually kind of silly shit. And I can pick and choose, do I want to go back to this one or what? But, if it's going good for me, and then, you got dreams where it's not going good for you in the dream. And, all I got to do is open my eyes and this resets. Is that what life is?
Well,
Is that
I know you very personal, Angus, and you have those dreams where you got to take a piss and, then
like I told you, freaking NASA told me I was an astronaut, and they told me to go ahead and just go in my suit.
Just go.
I'm like,
man.
wait a
Just
minute.
go.
And then your wife's like, what the?
I didn't know we had a waterbed.
So I think Angus is, we're all living in the Matrix, and Angus has the cheat codes,
I've never seen that movie, The Matrix.
It's pretty good flick, man. Pretty good.
I know all the references to it, but I've never seen it.
Oh,
I
Hollywood.
guess that's
Hollywood. I think my wife said to me the other day, Hollywood is there just to tell us what's going on in the future. You know,
Predictive
Oh, look at
programming.
Simpsons.
Yeah.
The Simpsons have gotten so much crap right. Oh, yeah, all right. So we're gonna go way off topic here. Have you ever heard of Disney Club 33?
no.
You mentioned that earlier. I don't know what that is.
Did I? Yeah, I just found out
In
about
chat
it.
or text or something. You
Yeah,
told
I
me
had to look it up, and I was like, this really exists. So these rich people, because it costs you $25,000 a year to join this, it's
What?
the only place. Yes,
That's like
it's the
Disney
only place
plus
in
plus plus
Disney.
plus.
Yeah, it's the only place in Disney where you can have alcohol, and supposedly it's tunnels. You know, it's a club, but there's tunnels under the city.
Well, the whole thing is catacomb.
Yeah, because my wife said that's how the characters go from one
Right.
place to another. So you got all these rich people paying to hang out at Disney. Does this not sound like a little bit of freaking pedophilia to you?
Well, also
So-
the number 33 is significant. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, and good point. I didn't even think about that. But my cousins out on the my West Coast connections, I sent that to them and asked them about it. And one of them says he's a part-time limo driver, stunt driver, part-time limo driver, and he says he once drove a Saudi royalty to Disney Club 33. And he said that's all he could think is that this guy is some kind of freaking pedophile or something. I mean, what is going on in this world that allows these people to do this shit?
That's the weird stuff, man. I used to watch this kind of stuff. Like people like us were talking about this. I used to watch people talk about this because I found it like entertaining. I didn't believe any of it. But,
No, I do.
Right. But now,
well, now it's starting to come to light, and you're finding out all this crap was real. It's been real. I've been taking it with a grain of salt, like infotainment, you know. If we're just now finding out stuff people were talking about, and you know, I know Alex Jones has his faults, but he was, you know, it was actually Bill. He was kind of personifying Bill Cooper, but you know, he did push out a lot of good information as well. 20 years ago, they were talking about stuff we thought was crazy, and today we're starting to see that was actually true.
Mhm.
You know, it makes you wonder what else is going on. Are they really? Is CERN really summoning demons? Do they really have portals to hell? I mean,
Well, all of the stuff that we thought was conspiracy is actually not conspiracy. It is
no,
coming.
they only call it conspiracy to make us all look crazy.
Yeah, they just
It's
try
way
to-
beyond that now. It's way beyond that.
But with as far as the CERN thing, I have heard that, I've read stuff about that, to where people at CERN say they have pulled something through from the other side,
Mhm.
that they pull in demons or whatever you want to call them from the other side. And when the God particle was discovered in 2014 by CERN, supposedly, and that's when Stephen Hawking said if they ever found the God particle, it would alter reality. And I'm not going to self-promote right now, but if you go to episode 3, this is that we actually discussed this, and it's like it's because I mean, you really look. You know, I always thought 2020 was the point where the timeline just kind of went off the rails, but when I heard that the first time about 2024 or 2014, it kind of made sense. It's like, but there's people at CERN that say, "Oh yeah, we pull stuff
So-
from the other side."
here's something to think about. When you get close to the event horizon, name of your show, right? Of a singularity or a black hole, then time slows down. How do we know that when they fired up CERN that they didn't create a black hole and it destroyed the Earth, but we're stuck in
That's
a
a good
time
point.
dilation, and so
That is
we're
an
seeing
excellent
this
point.
weird stuff. Yeah, it's something to think
Because
about.
they said that they had said that they can make a small black hole. Why would you want to make a small black hole? Because it's going to get
They
larger.
have,
Bigger.
Well,
they have
freaking
warped time and
thing.
space.
Well, I've always thought about this. They
What's
say
that?
if you go, oh, sorry.
That's my fault. They have warped time and space, I wanted to say.
Well, yeah, to my point, if you were to fly into a black hole, people wonder what happens if you fly through a black hole. Would you go to another dimension, another universe? You know, is it a wormhole? You would never know. And other people say, well, you'd be torn apart by tidal forces. You would be ripped apart atom by atom. But you still would never know, because what they say or what they theorize is that because of the gravity, time slows down so much that even though you fly into a black hole and it would happen that fast, to you it would be like 1,000,000 years or 1,000,000,000 years, because
Right.
time is dilated.
And that's what I'm going back to, the point where we were talking about with dying. How do you know when you're actually dead? It's not like, everybody's going to float above their body and stuff, How do
I'm
you
getting a
know?
parade, man. I already paid for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I paid for it. I got like
I
5
got
people.
almost 60 years in this life, in this body. I paid for it. Angus Mustang's the same age as me. I don't know how Lord Raul, how old are you, sir?
I didn't hear him.
59, same as me.
Oh, we're all
Well,
59.
He's a month or two older than me.
Yeah, I turned
Oh, wow,
60
I'm the
in
baby.
October.
Yeah, you're the baby,
Oh, yeah.
Jason.
Almost a year older than me.
Jason, you
I-
need
I-
a haircut.
Only on my chin, brother.
Next episode, Raul's going to be bald. But it's a freaking weird. So I heard a thing the other day, and they were talking about George Floyd. And when they buried him, it was on NBC, and they put him in a gold coffin. Like a ritual.
Right.
Yeah.
It was very strange. So I'm sitting right now as we're talking, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. I'm going to put it on the screen here, hopefully. And let's see. Oh, technology is wonderful. You know Anne Heche, right?
Yep.
You hear about when she died? Where's my share screen thing? Oh, here we go.
Is that the one that drove through the house?
Yes. Share. Come on. Share screen. Entire screen. Oops. Wait for all this
Hey,
to catch
click-
up. And here we go.
Click on your icon, whatever browser you're using. Click on it down in your start bar, and it will populate your screen. That's the workaround for StreamYard. When it takes a while like that, I figured that one out. Oh crap! That girl. Okay, now I know who you're talking about.
I didn't realize.
I think you're buffering out on us, Angus.
Too much shit going on, I guess. But no, I mean that's so basically they said they proclaimed her as being dead, and they got her in. They had her covered in the sheet like she was dead, and she sits up as they're loading her in the ambulance, and they push her back down, pull the sheet back up, and nobody ever questions it. So there's actually some kind of ritual that has in I'd have to look up the episode where I heard it all, but all these rituals that seem to be playing out. I mean, what is going on? Has the timeline, the reality shifted to where, like we said, CERN pulled in stuff, and now things that you never even thought were real are actually real, or these people just so brave now that they just do the shit in plain sight and they don't care.
I think they just
They don't care.
anymore.
They don't
To
care.
hide.
They really don't care anymore. They are devils. They are evil.
You need to look up the song "Sitting Up with the Dead." "Sitting Up with the Dead," Ray Stevens.
So, but with a lot of these things I just never believed in, and now I look and go, the Book of Revelation seems to be coming true.
Yeah.
And one thing I always remember people saying is the best thing. It was the not the best thing, but one of the things the devil did was get people to believe he didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually now I'm looking going, that's probably what's going on because there's some, so now people just go, that's all a conspiracy theory. But you see it unfolding right in front of your eyes, and you got to go. It's just too weird.
I have an old friend. I have many old friends, childhood friends, and I talked to him last night on the phone. He lives in Florida now. He's from Brooklyn, but he's looking forward to his next jab in the middle of September.
Is he going to get a cake made at some fruit fly, rainbow cake place?
I put up with it when I talk to him now. I'm just like, best of luck to you, Eddie. Have a good one. Enjoy it. And there's a lot like that.
We're a needle in the nuts.
Yeah.
That'll hurt, man. I never thought about it.
I don't know what makes people think this way. They're like, you're so crazy. You're so crazy. It's safe and effective. They say if I get the shot, I'll be good to go. And then later on, well, I need a second shot. Okay, later on, I need a booster. Later on, I need a booster. And then they're looking at us like we're crazy. And we're like, we're the ones that told you the shit wouldn't work. We told you that from the start. And we're completely 100% right. But now you're on your fourth booster now, and you're telling us we're still crazy. What's wrong with you? The cognitive dissonance,
That's like going to the dealer and buying a car. And they say, oh, here's your car. You're going to love this thing. It's got no tires on it. Come back next month. We'll give you one tire. And you get that tire. Come back another month. We'll give you and just keep coming back. But it never works for you because it turns out it has no freaking engine in it. And it's just.
Here you go. You buy a $40,000
pipes running up the interior.
You buy a $40,000 car. You take it home and it doesn't start. So you take it back. And they say, oh, we won't give you your money back. But would you give you this other car? And you take it home and it doesn't start. And you just keep staying with the same dealership over and over, getting a new car every time. And the car never works. When are you going to fire the dealership and say you're full of crap? And demand your money back? Well, in this case, the people with the jab.
Or just drive the car right through this, the building.
It doesn't start, John. It doesn't start. You didn't listen to the story, John.
I'd have to have it on a record.
On a record.
You get three of your friends and you all push into the building. Harder.
Yeah.
Harder.
Good try.
I would not buy a $40,000 car anyway, because I don't think they were built to last anyway, but that's a different story.
$40,000 car now, that's like a 6-month lease. I mean, have you seen what cars cost?
Lord Raul, I'm turning to the maker here. What's up, Lord Raul, the maker of marks, mark maker? What do you got going on in your mind?
He broke up.
He's hanging out with me.
I'm hanging out with Angus.
What do you got
in the closet?
You have, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Hey,
so Little John, you've been talking about replacing that bookshelf for a year.
You want me to remove the bowling ball that's holding it up right now, live in front of you?
All I know is I want to take you on bowling because I know you're out of practice.
Oh, I mean, I've been doing things the last week. I've been trying to, gee whiz, I hate to say this online. I'm trying to cut down on a lot of evil things that I'm doing, like drinking beer and smoking. And I got those demons in my head where every 5 seconds it says, have a cigarette, have a beer, have a cigarette, have a beer, So I've been trying to do things at my friend's garage, and I'm not getting paid. I'm just helping out. And he's doing me a favor by keeping me busy, if you know what I'm saying. If I haven't been on David Knight, you know what I'm doing.
No, yeah, you're changing your routine, and that's what you got to do to break habits.
Yeah, I'm trying
Good on
to.
you.
You know,
Yeah.
I have to admit today I didn't go way off the limit, but I'm still half as much as I used to be, if that makes any sense.
No, I'm doing the same, John. I cut back on the beer drinking and stuff as well. I still have an occasional, pop a few extras, but for the most part, slowing down, trying to get things right for my health. Yeah.
I'm drinking the hell out of water. I'm telling you that. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
But
Good for
anyway,
you.
I'm sorry to bring that up on your show.
Don't drink too much. 'Cause too much water is not good.
Yeah. I hate when I stand up.
Just
You know,
don't drink too much.
How about corn?
when I'm down on the ground and I stand up, sometimes when I'm not buzzed or anything, I haven't done anything, I stand up and I have to hold on to the wall because I kind of feel dizzy a little bit. I don't know if it's dizzy or lightheaded, but and that too shall pass,
Probably more.
Just,
Yeah. Take it some days.
I've really been partying since
How long you been smoking?
Since I was 16. Everything was 16.
How long you been smoking?
Well, how old are you? Same age as me. I've been smoking since I was 16. So how old? Get your calculator out. Angus, get your calculator out. Six.
I got my abacus. Well, since you're 16, so that's 30,
40 years. 40 years.
6 years.
No, 40. If he's 56.
No, I'm 59.
40?
We're all 59.
59.
So 43 years.
Raul is laughing his ass off right now.
It's that wonderful Connecticut education
Yeah, because
system.
he can't add worth of crap either.
All right. Hey, does anyone else have
In the middle of the night, I'll wake up.
I shared my spooky, scary ghost story. I wanted to hear some of y'all's spooky, scary stories.
I've went into old-fashioned New York City buildings. I grew up.
Another one, but
I got one.
There were some places I went in New York. I was like, get out. Some really old.
that was a donut shop, John.
Yeah, extra crispy.
Or
cream.
the bar he didn't pay his tab off.
Oh
Get
man,
out.
the owner is looking for me right now after 30 years. I owe him $100 after 30 years. He's still looking for me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is a
There's a lot of
StreamYard thing,
Buffering
man.
going on all of a sudden.
You got to click on the whatever on
As soon
your
as John
start
started
bar.
talking about New
Another-
York, it started buffering.
Another
Yeah.
time I got a ton of stories.
Go ahead, Raul.
Yeah. Okay. Raul, tell us some of your stories, or some.
We get the tennis ball story. We had myself and my two sisters in the house, and me and my one sister were throwing a tennis ball at each other, trying to hit each other, and we're going back and forth, and my sister whipped the ball at me. I ducked, and it went down the hallway into my parents' bedroom. And we both looked at each other and went, I'm not going to get that. Well, I'm not going to get that. So we walked through the door into the kitchen. And as we're standing there talking, the tennis ball came back like it was thrown by Roger Clemens down the hallway and bounced off the wall. It came through at a speed that was unbelievable.
Is it possible your
Clemens.
parents were in there busy and they got upset that a ball coming?
Oh no, it was just the three of us. My now wife, then girlfriend got to witness it. We went to the house. We picked up my sister, who was afraid to stay in the house alone. So my wife went through and shut off all the lights as we left the house. And we got to the bottom of the driveway. We stopped for a second to do something. And my wife went, "Oh my God." And it's like, "What?" And she pointed to the house. Every light in the house was on. Every light.
Wow.
Hey, Raul,
And
all you got to do is
Yeah.
close all the windows in the house so there's no draft. Okay?
oh no.
Shut off all the lights, light a candle, and see if it blows out by itself. You know
Oh, we've
somebody's
done that.
there.
We've done that.
Well, it doesn't
It's
work
all-
if you got central air. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, I'm turning everything off. You know, there's no wind or
Oh,
anything.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes. If you feel it. Do you feel it?
I've watched it physically flush toilets. Watch the handle flush.
Dang.
It,
Dang.
it chased my 6'5", 280-pound brother out the door as he was panicking with the toilet flushing, the sinks turning on and off, the smoke detector going off, and as he ripped the smoke detector off the ceiling, pulled the battery out, it kept going off in his hand. And he was like, "Nope, I'm out. Can't do it. Gotta go."
I believe. That's all I got to say is I believe. And I like to have fun. I mean, life is about fun. Just have fun. Take care of each other. Take care of your family. That's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about the other thing. Come on, Angus. You're the host.
I'm enjoying
No
listening.
pressure.
I was,
No pressure,
I
Angus.
was Jason to move. I thought he was left and froze up, left the mannequin behind. I was like,
No.
how's he staying that
Yeah, I
damn
got
still?
the G.I. Joe doll with the Kung Fu
Oh,
grip. Right?
Oh, you missed that the last episode. We
I
covered
did
that.
miss
How
it,
G.I.
yes.
Joe. You know, he was 12 inches. He was 12 inches originally.
Oh, he's bragging.
Doesn't
Come
seem-
on. We all say
Yeah.
that, don't we?
But then
Is
he
it
was
from the
down to
base of the
3.5.
shaft, or how do we measure?
Well, every tape measure in my house starts at 6.
There we go.
God.
But it's amazing. It's amazing. The shrinkage follows the Kung Fu grip.
And we also found out
And so does the need for glasses. You know,
the
go
hands from
blind.
Kung Fu grip made it softer. No calluses. And did you ever watch that episode? Because I will show you the pictures. I don't
I
wanna waste your
started.
time.
I never finished it, but yeah, let's bring the pictures up. That might be fun.
You,
Might be
you didn't
fun.
get past the opening. That's it. Let's see.
No
yeah.
shameless
Let's
plugging
see.
here whatsoever.
Oh, God, no. Never. So what's going
Is this
on the next
Angus Mustang.
adventure of Knights of the Storm?
I don't know yet. I like to wait for a few days because I don't know. David Knight and Gardner Goldsmith, between the two of them, they cover everything. So we don't want to look like we're just repeating. So we're always looking for like, what did they cover that people were like, active in chat about that they want to know more about, and then we go that direction, or we go to something that nobody's talking about. So we try to keep it different.
Well, that's what I had right there, but I had the full size model in the 60s. And then I had the full size model Barbie too. So,
Well,
it's like,
I'm telling you right now, this guy's in trouble because he showed up to formation unshaved, and probably for the last 6 months, from what I can tell.
Well,
he's Rambo. He's Rambo.
Yeah. But you see, so he's got his holster around his neck, which is a little weird. But then I found these pictures online. Does that not mugshots?
Is that a chia pet?
Turn left. Turn right. This is official G.I. Joe business, man. But then, we assume that this next photo is why he ended up with the mugshots, because she found out he was anatomically incorrect.
He was on
didn't want
shore
the news
leave,
to come
bro.
out.
He was on shore leave. Cut him.
Yeah.
That's shore leave, G.I. Joe.
But yeah, so apparently apparently he went off the grid, grew his beard, tried to hide in public and stuff, but she's kind of skanky looking.
Yeah. I mean, did the shore leave GI Joe that came with herpes? Did it come with like a kit to clean it up?
I also heard rumors this was my.
This is serious stuff.
I guarantee you that's her car, and he just talked her into letting him drive it. He's not even licensed in that country.
Probably not.
That's a photo op right there. That's
Wrong side of the road, guy. Wrong side of the road.
See, originally we thought this was his arm and he was grabbing her leg, but we determined that's her arm and she's reaching for something that's not there. So
his arm is around her, yeah. So he could slam her into the dashboard anytime he wants. Come on, girl.
Slam the dashboard.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, let me see all your stuff. I'm gonna look at all that. I'll put it on pause. I'm talking to you.
With the right hat, that could have been an Indiana Jones doll, because he had the pistol and the lanyard holster thing.
Yeah.
All you need is a satchel. You get the satchel going. You're an Indiana Jones guy.
I never cared for that guy.
No?
I like the first one. What are they up to? Part 10 now?
1, 2.
Go into your browser history. Let's look at your browser history. I want to see what you're doing.
Oh, no way. No way. So,
am I going to get a virus by looking at this?
G.I. Joe, history of the 12-inch figure. Then history of the 3.75-inch figure. I'm telling you, it's something weird going on there. But yeah, poor G.I. Joe. He never got any. He was like Rodney Dangerfield. He never got no respect. I was trying to show this one before, when we were talking about ghosts.
Is this the lady on the plane? Yes. So what I don't understand is they everybody made a big deal about this lady. Yeah, too many mimosas. She looks like a mimosa girl. But everybody that went viral while they're destroying our dollar and killing us with vaccines and chemtrails and war in Ukraine. All this stuff's going on. And this was viral? Really? Some crazy lady?
Yeah.
This is what makes news?
Well, Maui, the fires in Maui are they're not even talked about anymore, and there's thousands of children missing. Isn't that true?
Well, if I had seen this girl in real life, if I was a single guy and I ran across this girl in real life screaming at ghosts like that, apparently I would probably take her home before she sobered up. I'm just saying that's the extent of my news right there. And then
it's like Animal House, the movie, just put the girl in the shopping cart and leave her at the front door and knock on it and say, "Here you go, Dad."
And I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would never do that to a lady.
No, I've never done that either.
That happened to me once.
Not in a shopping cart, anyway.
I was left at somebody's doorstep in a shopping cart, John.
It was a good spirit. It was a good spirit that made me get her home. That's what it was. Besides her dad, the next day coming after my ass.
Can I say something, gentlemen? As a stepdad, I will call myself a father, but as a stepdad, father, either way, I don't have any of my own biological children. I'm pretty sure I'm sterile from a job I worked as a teenager. But anyway, today I would totally rip somebody's head off. But as a teenager, as a horny young teenager, I didn't give a shit, So I wonder how much these kids give a shit when they come around, Well, my kids are older now, but when they were teens, I it makes me wonder when I was like not giving a crap, and I thought, the guy, if he catches me in the basement when 2:00 in the morning, I snuck through the basement window, and me and his daughter's down there making out or whatever, and he catches me, it'll be okay. Man, I did not know. I did not know the fury of a father back then. I was taking my own life in my hands.
Yeah, that's the way I feel now. But
yeah.
Wow. My girls are in their 20s, their mid-20s. I can't really tell them no, So,
right. Oh God, John, I'll talk to you offline about that. But yeah, I'm going through it, man.
Hey, Lord Raul, do you have any daughters or sons?
I have one daughter and one son. They are
you
27 and 20.
Yeah, I got 20. I got 28 and 26. You are blessed, Lord Raul. How have they been with your life?
You broke up.
Oh, how have they been with your life, Raul?
My daughter took 14 years. We have 14 years to have her and 7 to have my son. So I've been married 40 years.
Yeah, I've been with my wife 35. It seems like a lifetime. It is. Angus?
No, I haven't known your wife yet.
Nice.
It's been 34. Met my wife in 1989. Married her in 92. And
87.
Tony stood there and didn't stop me. Douchebag.
I was just an usher, a groomsman. I wasn't the best man. That was his job.
Angus is a true Weisenheimer. I'm telling you that right now. Weisenheimer. He's flown across the world, the globe.
I love to have fun. I love to make people laugh. That's what we need, man. We need laughter. We don't need. Our lives are sad enough now in this freaking world. So we need to laugh.
Isn't that what? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, isn't that what the show is about? Get a little non-serious and talk about some fun stuff.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
You got these guys hanging out in a garage, and it looks like one of them's in a pantry. Yeah, geez whiz, I don't know.
I'm facing the other way now.
Yeah, I got tired of listening to you complain about the Home Depot box behind both of us, so we decided he was going to face the other way tonight.
I'm thinking in my mind this whole time, cool hot rod people, and then Raul pops in, and I'm like pack rat.
Yes, that's shelves I built for my wife's overflow of stuff.
Oh.
I need to call hoarders and send them there.
Save me.
Yeah, I was outside. I have a carport out there. It's attached to the house. I was reaching for some Windex so I can clean the windows in the car. I moved the Windex bottle, and half the boxes and stuff fell down. Every time I clean up that table, they seem to put more and more stuff on there. I clean it up. So now I don't even clean up the table anymore because they have no room for it.
You could just remove the table.
Oh, man. That is so true. Yeah.
Boom.
Calling a drone strike on your table.
Yeah. It's a Wagner table.
They'll be out there trying to put something on the table and be like, "Where's the table?" Oh goodness.
G.I. Wagner.
So I want to hear a story before we. I don't know how long we're going to do this, but I want to hear a story from someone else. Like, I shared my little creepy ghost stories.
I was thinking of one. So, my daughter, when she was like 3-4 years old, me and my wife had her in the car. We were driving. She was sitting in the back, and we pulled up to an intersection, and there was a cemetery across the street, and we weren't paying attention. So my daughter's back there. She said, "Wow, look at all the people." Like, what the hell is she talking about? Look across, I was like, "There's all these people." And she's looking at the cemetery. There's nobody in the cemetery. So, well, that's a little weird. So we didn't really say anything. We drove off, and then that kept happening. We in Coventry is a historic town. Nathan Hale lived here, partied here or something. So there's like all these Revolutionary War cemeteries and everything around here, and we'd just be driving by them, and it's cemeteries where you couldn't even see the headstones because they're overgrown. The one on South Street, and look at the people and this and that, and it's like, well, that's just freaking weird. So one time she was talking about a woman and her baby, and well, what are they doing? She goes, oh, they died. Well, how they died? They died. So then it was like we never said anything to anybody about it. My parents took her for a ride, and the same freaking thing happened. We had not told them about this, and so then my wife's mother had passed away when she was 15. My wife was 15, and we were up in Nova Scotia, so we went up to the cemetery to visit the grave, and you had to go up this hill through the cemetery. And my wife was up ahead of us, and me and my daughter walking along. And it didn't occur to me when she first said it, but she kept going, they're just pretend ghosts. They're just pretend ghosts. Because she was actually getting scared going through the cemetery. And now, she's just like, she doesn't remember any of that, because you get older and people go, yeah, you're not supposed to believe in that. You don't see this stuff. And it's unfortunate because I was really planning on making a shitload of money, getting a TV show and all that stuff with her. But the only thing that's happened the last was when she was probably maybe 16 or so, she saw an orb at the bottom because the woman that owned this house originally passed away in it at 93. And she saw an orb go from the living room. She was sitting in the living room up the stairs and into her bedroom. It was a blue orb. And that's one of the last things she's ever told me about. But
there are some people that can see. I guess they call it that can see, and there are some people that cannot see. If that's the word.
Well, at that time I was working with where I worked was like the UN. There was people from all different nations there and everything. And a couple of guys from Asia said that's because kids don't understand that they're perceptive of this stuff. They can see stuff because nobody's told them that you're not supposed to see this stuff. That you can't see it because it doesn't exist. And that's why children will sometimes steer off at stuff. But also, I just thought of this. My dog, one night I was washing the dishes in the kitchen, and I got like a cold chill down my back, and goosebumps and everything. And my dog came in and sat down and was staring up at the ceiling in the corner and growling. And Juliet never growled at anything.
No.
And it was just bizarre. But so it was at the woman that lived there.
I gotta throw something in here because you said something that really actually hits home. Angus, hits home as far as my mind works. So as a Christian guy, I like to believe there's a heaven and hell. When you die, you go to one or the other, right? I do agree. We talked about you go to the pearly gates because you'll go to get judged first, and then you go from there. So maybe everyone goes to the tunnel of to the light, and then you go from there. And as far as all the ghost stuff and everything goes, your daughter said something like they're pretend ghosts. That's kind of interesting because if I were a demon pretending to be a ghost, what purpose would that serve? To sow doubt in whether there's a God or not. Because you start wondering about if that's really the truth. Do I die and then go to heaven or hell? Or is there something in the middle? I mean, do I really need to worry about being a good person or getting to know God or anything? Because none of that exists anyway. And there's all this proof of aliens, ghosts, everything, all this other stuff that takes you away from the gospel. So that's kind of what I worry about as we see more and more of this. And we're seeing more and more stuff that the Bible talks about coming out now. Because I think we're getting closer to where there's going to be all out war, good and evil, and we're going to start understanding it more as it comes. But all this, ghosts and aliens and all this other crap, is it all a lie? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Is it all basically back to the basics, good and evil, and the demons are trying to put all this doubt in our mind by showing us these things that aren't really real? apparitions, ghosts, and stuff like that to get us away from the idea that there is one truth. I don't know. Just I'm throwing it out there. What do you think?
No, I
They always
agree.
used to say to me, I'm sorry, Lord, but it's always in your head. It's in your head. Get it out of your head. My dad would say that. It's in your head. Don't worry about it. It's all right. But it's not. It's the real thing. Go ahead, Lord. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. If he manages to keep you so busy that you don't focus on God or wherever you're going, then he's won, because you're no longer going down the right path, so he doesn't have to worry about you.
Yep. So you're up. You went down the second street instead of the right path. You turned off the. But in that song, "Stairway to Heaven," there's still time to take the road you're on. There's always time to change.
Oh yeah.
Isn't there, Jason? Angus?
I think so. I think we can't be distracted. I think this world is so full of distractions. And when we talk about this paranormal stuff, and I'm not going to say that I know for sure it's not real. I just know that from the history of the Bible, from the history of the first sin, the devil laced a truth with a lie, and we know when it comes to paranormal stuff, we know God tells us that we go on to somewhere after this. But do you lace a truth with a lie to take people away from God? Like, hey, did God not say you can eat from anything in the garden? Well, yeah, but he said not to eat from this. Well, he said you can eat from anything, right? Okay, he just doesn't want you to eat this because you're going to be smart. You're going to have everlasting life. So he kind of laced a lie in with a truth, or a deception in with a truth. So yes, there is something, I believe, beyond life. There is something, once we shed this body, we die. There's something beyond that. But is it ghosts? Are there aliens out there? Is there all this stuff? Might be a little bit of it could be true, but it's laced with a deception. Because if you can sow the seeds of doubt into, well, I don't know if God's real, I don't know if heaven's real, that's all the devil does. He just sows those little seeds of doubt. So, I mean, let's say a ghost comes and says, oh, I'm the ghost of your father, and I'm I'm here to be your guardian angel and stuff. Well, the devil knows everything my father did and how our relationship was. Of course, he can convince me of that. Of course. So could it be a demon coming out here pretending to be? Could it be God? So I'm just asking the questions. I'm just asking questions here. Like I don't know. I'm just throwing that idea out there that we got to be cautious, right? You got to pray. You have discernment over it.
Don't take it for face value. Always question.
Right.
Well, that goes back to the devil made people believe that he didn't exist.
Boom.
Which is,
I think we're all getting it, man. We're pulling it together.
I love my acre of land in North Carolina. I don't know how I got it. I'm a high school dropout from Brooklyn, but for some reason, I worked my ass off. But I'm on disability now, so.
Well, hey, John, I got a question for you, little John.
My name is John. Where is it?
Hey, John. John, how are my bees doing that I sent down there to visit you?
I only killed 2 of them today.
What?
So I think I killed the hive.
Those were delivery bees, bro. They had little messages on their feet.
Yeah, I know they were, but I don't like them in my building.
Killed my bees.
Hey, I'm not gonna do this live on air, but I got this fly swatter.
I got one.
Yeah, watch this.
My wife don't like it when I pull it out.
I'll be like Harps eating a freaking scorpion or something, like mescal or something like that.
I thought he said he didn't do that, because I saw that comment today in the chat.
God dang.
That's going hooked up to a carpentry.
Yeah, it's the personal use, though.
Did you really shock yourself, John?
Yeah, and it leaves a little sting there for a second.
Did you ever sit on your hands and falls asleep?
Oh,
That way
seen
you feel
Hawk.
like somebody else.
I seen Hawk one time when we weren't like recording and stuff, and he drank the critter, whatever you want to call it, or he ate it. And I think
The
he
worm?
did it twice. Well, I think
Yeah,
it was
Harps.
more like,
Harps ate a scorpion more than once.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a couple of those tequila bottles for friends with the scorpion. And I haven't. No, I'm a little skeptical about eating the scorpion. I don't know.
Well, John and I can verify that Harps has eaten at least.
Oh, I
two.
believe it.
Yeah.
It was just like us hanging out here, and he did it right in front of us. You know, it was
Yeah.
like,
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
do it. I mean, I
Good.
can't even finish a bottle like that anyway. It would take me
That-
2 months of broadcasting to finish that.
that shock that I had right there, it made a spark, but it didn't really sting me. So I could have went, and I'm not going to do it again. I got lucky on that one. A couple of D batteries, man, they'll kill some insects. I love that thing. I have $1,000 worth of tools over here, and I love my $10 little electric racket. So anyway,
Well, I think I got to upgrade my wireless or something because, man, there's been a lot of cutting out in and out and shit. So I don't know if it's me or somebody else, but
no, it's me. I'm trying to stream
I don't know if it was happening with you and Jason.
I'm streaming
I
the
don't
Jets game at the same time.
Oh, there you go. Oh my God, how much are they down by? 300?
The Jets are up 14-0 right now.
Ooh, it's almost 7 o'clock. I got a race on.
Go Jets! Go Jets! Go Jets! Hey, I got to get out of here and do my thing and go Jets! Go Jets!
Go put your.
Yeah.
your
I'm gonna
pom-poms
get my
on.
big I'm gonna get my big foam mag finger out and wave it because I'm a loser. And I'm gonna follow the debates and I'm gonna follow the Republican agenda. I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm
foam
gonna
finger.
vote for my team.
I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about me, Jason, following the Jets. It's like,
No.
Did
Raul.
did I really hear that? Who's the guy that was Trump's Pence?
Yeah.
That he cried during the debate.
I didn't watch the debates, man. I turned it on. They were talking about abortion. I was like, screw you all. Nobody can say no abortion. They all wanted to draw a line about heartbeat bill and 6 weeks and 8 weeks and 16. I mean, you know what? Is it murder or not? Come on. So I shut it off. I shut it off and then I relied on the rest of it from highlights from other people.
Yeah.
I just,
It's
these
kinda like
people,
a football game.
it's
I mean,
phony.
low life.
It's a football game. Why watch the game when you could just watch 10 minutes of the highlights and just get it over with?
Let me talk to Angus about this real quick because we didn't get into this on Knights of the Storm today, but this was a topic we're going to get into. So the entirety of the Democratic candidates that were up on the debate stage, which is kind of bull crap anyway, because there's a lot of people that didn't make the debates for stupid reasons. They couldn't stand on anything firm. The best answer I saw on the abortion debate was that people said that, well, it needs to go to the states, which was the right answer. It should go to the states, but they couldn't say for sure that they claim it's murder. I want you to say it's murder and no. I mean, unless it's a dire circumstance, no more abortion, right? I want to see somebody say that, but nobody will have the balls to say that. Okay.
Now, what about all those little souls right there? I believe all those little children are souls. You know?
Oh, well, of course they are. I mean,
But
anyway, I lost it. Oh,
Don't get crying
so-
on me. Don't start crying. But I believe that.
but the point is that Angus and I were talking about it. Every single, and this is the fallacy of the Republicans right now. They can debate about abortion, anything they want. At the end of the day, every single one of these talk about how they're better set to beat Joe Biden. If that's what you're running on, is you're going to beat this guy because the sake of voting for me is because I can win. Okay, we vote for people because we want them to do what we want them to do. But they want us to vote for them because they can win. This is not professional sports. This is not wrestling. This is not a freaking theatrical thing. This is our life and death right now with CBDC and 15-minute cities. We want someone in there that's going to do what we want you to do, but they want to vote for me because I can beat Joe Biden. What happens at the last 5 minutes when they pull Joe Biden out and put someone else in? And your entire campaign has been off. I can beat this old decrepit man that won his last election from a basement. What's going to happen? I want people to think about that. Like it's for real. They're going to pull somebody in at the last minute, and then every single Republican guy, I don't care how freaking strong you made your campaign because I can beat Biden. Well, what happens when they take Biden out of the picture?
He's going to go away. Nobody's going to care about him. He's going to
vote for somebody on what they run on. Vote on their history. Vote on their issues, what they're running on. Don't vote based on whether they can win or not. You got to stop thinking that way. People got to stop thinking vote because this guy can beat this guy. Okay, so what? This guy with the same agenda as that guy beats him. Who cares which one wins if they have the same freaking agenda at the end of the day? Vote on the issues. Don't vote on the people.
That was pissed me off in the debate chat.
I'm sorry.
Somebody was saying that about Trump. Well, Trump can beat Biden. I don't give a crap.
Who cares? And I'm sorry, Angus. I know this is a lighthearted show you do, and I'm sorry to bring this. This was something we didn't do today.
That's all right. I stopped recording an hour and a half ago.
No, it still says live up there. You got it. You got it.
Crazy, go nuts.
This was a topic we were going to cover. We were going to cover this topic today on nights, but we were kind of running along in the shoots, so we didn't cover it. But seriously, if you're voting on a person based off of whether or not they can win, but don't really care what their issues are, what the issues they're running are, then you're a freaking loser. And unfortunately, 90% of American population are freaking losers. They just want to win, just like watching Red Zone. You like the Cowboys, you like the Steelers, you vote for your team because you live in that city. Give it up, man. Start figuring out what the strategies are. Vote for the right team based on the right reasons, not based off of your. I don't know.
I would vote for David Knight. I would vote.
It just comes down to red or blue. That's all it is.
Yeah, don't just vote for blue.
No.
Vote for who you want to back, who you align with.
I see a civil war or like a little bit of a nuke thing somewhere in the country. Not nuking the whole country, but something
like a dirty bomb or something, like a domestic terrorist attack. I guarantee you that's going to happen at some point in the future.
That's what I see.
Yep.
And I'm
but it'll be a red flag caused by a 3-letter agency.
Yep.
They'll say it was domestic terrorism, and then go back to a lockdown and all that good crap.
I'm sorry to bring the heaviness on your show, Angus, man. It's just
no, that's fine. That's
8 ball in the corner pocket, Jason. 8 ball in the corner pocket. I won that game.
Hey, I went off 3 rails, so give me some credit.
You bounced it off 3 rails?
Yeah.
That's a good shot right there. That's a money grab.
Man.
I was never
all
good.
Right, gentlemen.
What are you doing? You leaving me?
You said you were going, little John.
Yeah, I know. I have to go.
We got to go eat.
I have to go in more ways. I need to eat food.
Here in the future, it's 7:06.
Yeah, I'm 7:06.
I need to pass at 6:06.
It is 6:66
There's
here.
one thing I've been blessed with. My wife always has food in the house. No matter what I want, she always has food in the house. And that's a good thing, I think. I love you guys. I'll see you later.
Hey, 2 weeks, we'll do it all again. New topics. Time travel.
Big hello to Harps out there in Australia. I'm sorry he's on Rockfin Ghost on the weekends. I don't know why.
All right. Thank you, Angus. I'm going to take off too, brother. Great show tonight.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, John.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
Take care. See you
Raul,
soon.
be good, everybody.
I'll send you all a link to this when I post it tomorrow.
Oh,
Right
don't
on.
do that. I don't want to see I don't like the way I sound.
And remember, watch it backwards.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
Take care.